Okay, it looks like we're running. I'm Bob Stovall, Chair of the Royal Gorge Chamber Alliance Government Affairs Committee, and welcome to the 2025 Candidate Forum. Royal Gorge Chamber Alliance, in association with the Canon City Daily Record, are pleased to bring this forum to you, and we especially want to thank our wonderful Royal Gorge Association of Realtors for financial support without which this couldn't be happen. But more important, we want to thank them for the cookies in the back of the room. Please help yourselves at any time. There we go. You got it. Now, our objective here is to give you, the voter, a sense of where the candidates stand on various issues. Now, there's not going to be a lot of time to get into depth on any particular question, although we may have a little more time than we thought. Hopefully the candidates will have their own campaign events where you can get to talk to them a little more. And if we finish up, we'll give them an opportunity to visit with you personally before we get kicked out of the building. I'm going to ask them questions on various topics. They're not going to be the same questions one to the other. Each one's going to get a different question on the same topic area. I want to eliminate any advantage or disadvantage of having them respond. This is a city election. There are 2 district seats, 1 at-large seat, and the mayor's seat, which is, of course, at-large as well, open. So again, time limits. We'll start the timer. Your first questions are going to be 2-minute questions because they are easy to answer. And we will start, I'm going to start with the at-large candidates. Why did you decide, Mr. Tony? You are the at-large candidate here.
That I am.
Why did you decide to run for council, and what experience do you have that will make you a better council member?
First of all, thanks, Bob, for moderating this, and thank you for the past city council members that are retiring. We really appreciate you. It was a great service that you made there. Thanks for the ones in the audience that are here and the ones in television. Thank you for the city and all the people behind the scenes that make this happen. We got a lot of great people in Canon City, and you know, I've thought about running for city council a few times. The timing hadn't been right, but you know, I wake up early in the morning, 3 or 4. Anybody wake up early? But you get out, you see the stars here. You see the wonderful mountains as the sun comes up. I mean, this is just a wonderful place, a majestic place. There's so many things to do in Canon City, so much potential with the river. The town's great. The people in the town are fantastic. And I think it's everyone's duty to serve the community. And I felt like it was my duty and my time to serve the community. I hope that you'll vote for me. I'll do my best. I've got background in leadership. I've led companies from 50 people to 10,000. The same with budgets and financials. I've done, you know, up to $3.5 billion. I've led companies as presidents and CEOs. Construction, safety, environmental, and you know, I've done all those things. I'd like to continue doing it for the city and see what I can do for the city there. I want to be proactive. I think proactive is important. I want to collaborate with the citizens of Canon City as I represent them. I want to know what I can do to help. I'll be in town a lot and at your service, so vote for me, please.
We also get a buzzer to tell you that you're through. Thank you, Mr. Tony. I'm going to go now. Let's go to District 1, and we only have 1 candidate here. There are 2 candidates for this seat. Incidentally, I didn't mention that there are officially 3 candidates for at-large. Rick Ratzliff is a nominated candidate, and Dominic Condalucci is a write-in candidate, but neither of them are here tonight. In District 1, we have 2 nominated candidates, Jeremy Reeves and Alyssa Klug. She contacted me and said she could not be here because of her commitments for her son. But Jeremy is here, and same question to you, Jeremy. Why did you decide to run, and what experience do you have that will make you a better city council member?
Thank you for the question. Thank you for hosting this, by the way. It takes a lot to put things together like this, and I'm glad I don't have to. I'm running for this position because I've lived in Canon City for 34 years. It doesn't make me any better than anybody else, but it means that I have a vested interest in Canyon. I went to junior high here. I went to high school here. My son grew up his entire life here. He's in high school now, and I want to see Canyon grow a little more than it has. I think we've seen an up and a down, 2 steps forward and a 1 step back. And I'd like to see Canyon do a little bit more sustained growth. And the rumors and the things behind the scenes that prevent some of that from happening, I think I can help move past. Given my past, I've worked for different corporations in management positions, managed different employees, and had to work through different challenges as a logistics, handling distribution and delivery. I mean, my jobs are one thing, but I've invested most of my life into politics, paying attention to politics and knowing what's going on. I'm very aware of the needs of our great city of Canon City, and I love it here. I've had plenty of opportunity to move to many other places, but I've chose to stay here regardless of the limitations to my opportunities, and it's because I love Canon City that I want to do that.
Thank you. And we have no nominated candidates in District 3, but we have 2 write-in candidates. We have 3 total: Pamela Simmons, Chantel Coral, and Renee DuPont. Renee is not here. We've not heard from her, but we'll start with Pam. Same questions. Why are you running, and what qualifications do you have that will make you a good council member?
Well, I feel, and again, thank you for putting this on and for our past council members. I think they've all done a great job, and I know that this isn't an easy position to be in, but I don't feel we can complain about our city government unless we are willing to put ourselves in a position to help make the changes and find solutions. As a downtown business owner, as a longtime resident of Fremont County, I feel it's my civil duty to step up to the plate and be part of the solutions that we are seeking, to work with the city in ways that, as a business owner I have in the past, I bring a lot of community events to the table. I've worked to bring Canon City, Florence, and Penrose together, which everybody said we couldn't do, but create events that would support all 3 communities and make us stronger as an overall community, not just Canyon versus everybody else. And I think that's important. But for Canon City and being on city council, I feel I have an understanding of the needs of our small businesses. I used to work with the Small Business Development Center for many years and know intimately what it takes to run, operate, and be a part of a small business. And I want to be a voice for our businesses as well as our community.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to our mayoral candidate, our only mayoral. Oh, Chantel, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I apologize. I was looking down at my list. I'd already marked you down as having answered. Sorry. Proceed.
Much like Jeremy here, I grew up here. I went to school here, graduated high school here. I've raised my son here. I built my home here, so I'm invested in the community. I plan to stay here for many, many years to come. I want my son to grow up in the same place that I remember, and I know that's not necessarily possible, but I would like it to resemble somewhat what it used to. I am for growth, but it does need to be monitored growth and the correct growth for what the area needs. I'm a huge supporter of listening and trying to get everybody to work together, not just citizens in government, but different government entities, like Pamela said, surrounding areas. I think that's big when we work together. I think we benefit a lot more overall, and it can save some financially. And so I'm here to listen, have an open ear. Communication is a huge thing that I will push if elected. So I'm excited to see where this goes and hopefully work with all of you.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll go to Mr. Lund, and you get different questions. Well, kind of the same. You've been actually running for mayor since the last election. Not officially the whole time, but you were a candidate last time, and you've been out there. Why do you want to be mayor, and what is your vision for Canon City?
I've worked with a lot of communities, Bob, and so I'm originally from Michigan, and I've chosen to live in Colorado, and I've chosen specifically Canon City. And my kids, 2 of them have chosen to live here, and I've got also 4 grandkids here. So I am really pleased about the future of Canon City just from a family situation. But I've worked with lots of communities in the past, both on the private side of the aisle and also in the public sector side. Canon City is a jewel compared to so many other communities. And I am excited about Canon City's future. And so I have been a leader in the past. I have served as county commissioner in another area in the past and had leadership positions on that, including finance, budget. I've also taught entrepreneurship and business law and some other things. I've got a law degree, by the way. And all that to say that I like bringing people together and talking to them. So Bob accuses me of running since then, but it's actually because I was focused on some issues. The crime in our community is something that I specifically would like to tackle. I'd like to tackle the economic development issues. I've got background with both of those. But it's bringing people together that is what excites me, and that includes the citizens. It includes people on the council. We're going to have a diverse council, as you always do, and how do you bring people together and get them focused on what's going on? We've got some issues in Canon City that is causing a bit of division. I'm excited to see what we can do to bring people together. Since Hamas and Israel have come together, I figure we can do so in Canon City with the divisions that are here and make a difference. So that's one of the things that is a goal of mine, and I'm at an age where I almost lost my life with COVID, and a friend of mine, one of my dear friends, lost her life, and you get a chance when you go through that to say, what can I do to help the community? And so I'm motivated personally as a result of those personal experiences that I've had as well.
Thank you. Perfect timing. All right, we're going to go backwards this time. I'm going to kind of stay in that general question area. We'll start with Chantel. What is Canon City's greatest asset, and what is your vision for Canon City?
I think the greatest asset is the citizens, honestly. That's what makes the community as a whole. But we have a lot of the river itself. It's a beautiful area. All the trails that we have, we do have a lot of outdoor recreation, which I think is very huge and what attracts a lot of people here. So my vision is to maintain all of that, but also maybe build on it where we can. Again, communication. I'd love to hear people's suggestions, what they want to see. I just would like to continue to grow, and I would like it to thrive. And again, communication. I want everyone to come together and this to be a place that we all can enjoy living at together and not be at war against each other. So that's ultimately my vision.
All right, thank you. Do you remember the questions, Pam, or should I repeat them? Okay. What is Canon City's greatest asset, And what is your vision for Canyon City?
I'll have to agree with Chantel that the greatest asset is the people here. As a business owner downtown, we see a lot of tourists, and they are constantly saying it is such a friendly and wonderful place. They had no idea that there was so much to do here. We are truly a hidden gem in the southern Colorado area. I'd like to see us grow some of that, fill the spaces downtown, be a little more business friendly to get people and thriving businesses, not only downtown but throughout Canyon City, to grow the economic side of it. If we have a thriving business community, it's going to help ease the tax burden on every individual. So that's a main goal, is to work with bringing more diversity in business and grow that. I know our tourism board does an amazing job with promoting our area, and we do have our outdoor activities, our recreation that is here is second to none. And I think we could do a little better to bring that awareness out there, which again will bring more economic, financial benefit to the area. So I think those things are things that I'd like to see developed a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. Now, keeping with the reversal, we're going to go to Jeremy now. Same questions. What is Canyon City's greatest asset, and what is your vision for Canyon City?
Thank you again for the question. Canyon City has a bad reputation for getting things done. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. I have friends in the building industry, and they say Canyon City's terrible to work with. You know, how do we change that? That's part of my vision, is changing our reputation to where people want to come here and want to do business. To where what the other candidates are saying, and Tony I'm sure will say the same thing, is that part of it is we have barriers internally that are preventing things from getting done that we don't have at the county level as well. And so part of my vision is to get into this position and find out what those issues are. A question I like to ask is, what's the actual problem? And then trying to address solutions at the problem. Too often we just see people doing stuff, as if just doing stuff gets things done, as opposed to addressing direct, targeted at the issue. And then evaluating afterwards, saying, are our decisions and are the changes we're making actually doing something? Or are we just doing stuff? Are we just running in place? Are we just taking action that has no real goals? And so part of the job is to getting into the position and finding out what the real problems are and then doing something about it. Thank you.
All right, Freddie, same ones to you. What is Canyon City's greatest asset, perhaps besides the bridge? And what is your vision for Canyon City?
So I'd have to agree. The people here are absolutely wonderful, and they can make things happen. I liken it to a little town in Texas, one of the poorest towns, poorest cities there was per capita. It's called Waco, Texas. They had the same resources that Canyon City does. Canyon City is on the verge of spectacular things. And I think the stage is set by some of the previous council in the city. We've got some great initiatives moving. I think we got to keep those going, find ways to improve as we go, continuous improvement. But I would say the resources here that I see a lot of visitors come, and I agree, they're all complimentary of Canyon City. We need to make Canyon City easy to do business with. There's a lot of ways to get that done. But I look forward to moving Canyon City to a greater level. but citizens first growth. We need to watch the citizens. We don't want to overburden them with taxes, but at the same time, we need the growth. We need jobs for the younger generation here. We've had several meetings, forums on that, and that's achievable. And I think we can do that in the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Phil, I have a separate question for you. You know, the mayor has very limited power. You can't vote on matters before council. You don't supervise staff. Your primary role, besides conducting meetings, is to provide leadership and be the face of the city. You have only a 2-year term to start with. What are the 1, 2, or 3 things you'd like to see accomplished in your first term?
That's assuming I'm going to have a second term, right? I appreciate that.
No,
confidence.
I'm just talking about your first term, Phil.
Yeah, I understand. Or maybe the only term. Anyway, one of the things that I think Canyon City needs to have is citizens more invested in its success. So what I mean by that is the downtown, I often hear from people down there that have the businesses that locals don't shop downtown. And the same thing with the tourist industry. Tourist is half of our economy, is about $200 million comes from tourism. And yet many people in Canyon City basically view tourists as more transportation or more vehicles on the road, that it's just clogging up the roads and stuff. So we got to do something so that we're more invested, all of us, into the success of Canyon City. And I've got some thoughts on how to do that. I'm not going to go into that now, but that is one of the things that I want to work on. The other thing is more young people involved, and we have about 25% of our population is seniors, 65 plus, about 19% are 18 and under, but there's a whole bunch of people in the middle there that are not readily involved. And so I've been, if you've been watching any of my Facebook posts, etc., I've really been trying to reach out to 40 and under and saying that we need to have you involved. And I am actually getting a lot of private messaging of people that are interested in doing exactly that. I had coffee with the school superintendent for Canyon City last week, and we talked about strategies ourselves of how do we get more young people involved to be involved with the decisions, because that is our future. And so when you run the demographics as far as where we're at, in 20 years, only about 20% of the people who are citizens now will be citizens in 20 years. And we can all think back to 2005, not long ago. So if we want to keep Canyon City thriving, we need to pull in younger generation and get them involved with the activities. So that's a primary thing that I want to be involved with.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now we're going to move on to some more substantial questions. These will be 3-minute questions. You will have 3 minutes, and I'm not going to ask you all the same question. I am going to turn my phone off after I told everybody else to. It was spam anyway. Who cares?
Got to pay Preston $5.
All right. Probably the most important task of council is to approve a budget for the city operations. Expenditures must not exceed revenues. By the time you take office, the current council will have adopted the budget for 2026, which will show a slight increase over 2025. Now, I'm guessing maybe you haven't had a chance to review the 200-page budget in depth, but hopefully you have some idea about where the various $74 million items are going. But you will be, and I'm going to ask Pam this first question. You will be heavily reliant upon the city manager and the staff to provide information needed to make budget decisions. Ultimately, the decisions rest with council, and if staff recommendations are not in line with council priorities, how would you propose reconciling those differences?
I think it's important to have all voices to the table. I don't believe it's council's position to deny anything without having a good communication between all involved as the city comes to to the table with the proposed budgets. Why and how do they want to use those funds? How do they justify it if it's not in line with what council's decisions or thoughts are? I think communication has to be the key, a back and forth between the two, and ultimate compromise on what is the priorities and how to get to the best solutions and the best compromises so that all feel involved, all feel heard, and ultimately we can keep a balanced budget. You know, a budget is a budget. You can't spend more than you have, and being able to make those compromises, the tough cuts, it takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of understanding on both sides, and hopefully we can reach an agreement that helps us work through that. I don't think that City Council should be here to just say yes or no. I think we have to be a part of the decision-making process and allow the city to be a part of the decision-making process.
Thank you.
I forgot it's 3 minutes.
You can keep going if you want
No,
to.
I'm good.
Do you think you're good? Chantel, the city budget is a complex financial document. There are multiple different funds and spending areas. Our staff input is absolutely essential to understand it. What do you think you can do to educate yourself on the budget process in general and on the Canon City budget to be able to make more independent decisions about the budget?
First and foremost would be read it, and remember it. Jot down any questions that I may or may not have. That way I could ask the city staff to further explain. Just research, having all the knowledge that you possibly can. And like Pam said, working with the staff, not against them. They do the job day in and day out, so they know more than anybody. So I think just reading through the budget thoroughly and jotting down notes, and I know that's not going to be a 5-minute read by any means, but jotting down any notes or questions I may have and addressing those, asking those questions just to get further clarification. I'm all about research and knowledge, so I think it would come down to that. It would be a lot of communication with the city staff to further understand the budget and what they've laid out and why.
Okay, thank you. Is that it? I mean, you've got time if you want to go further, but that's fine. You don't have to. All right. Freddie, roughly 50% of the city's general fund revenue comes from some form of sales tax. There are different taxes and funds, but it's a very volatile source of revenue. Based on published information on the city website, sales tax collections through July are down over last year by about $275,000, and they are $393,000 below current year budget through this month, or through July, I believe it is. How do you think the city can best be prepared to weather any downturn in revenue?
Thanks, good question. I think, this city budget is 200 pages. This is the proposed budget. October 22nd, the Canon City Council will discuss the budget with the community. I think December 1st will be finalized, and January 15th it'll be the finale finished. Only 73 million, Bob, not 74. But I think you have the general fund, which comes from the tax base. That's about $25 million of it, of which about $10 million is for safety and security. You got about $5 million in there on parks, the park fund, and other special situations there. One of the most important things we have is the water, and it comes from another fund called the Enterprise Fund. by the way, the water department's doing a fantastic job. You know, they pump 3 million to 10 million a day, depending on what time of year, gallons of water to the city of Canon City. We have some incredible staff in the water department, both treatment, distribution, and all. But, you know, the way this budget is done, and kudos to Tammy for that, it's done from the ground up. So you use historic, and then you build it from the ground up, and you have your capital that's going to go in there. We got about 31 million requested in capital this year. But as at least monthly, quarterly, if not monthly, it needs to be reviewed, actuals versus forecast, actuals versus budget. And those steps need to be taken before the end of the year to recover from a downside. An upside, that's usually not the big problem, but as downside hits, it has to be reviewed, and corrections need to be made. Things like, I think it's already been done, some, freezing hiring. You have prioritized packages that you really need to get done, and some that could wait till the following year. But, the economics ebbs and flows, and, you have to go with the economy here. We don't want to increase taxes to our citizens just because we're down to fine taxes like the state has. But we need to watch our budget, keep it balanced, and we need to be proactive in that as well, and prioritize our items like crime. That has to be one of our priorities.
Thank you. Jeremy, if revenues do not match expenditures, the city must either reduce expenses or draw from reserves. Do you have a sense of which is a better approach to addressing any current budget deficit?
Thank you for the question. I'm not a fan of drawing from reserves. I believe they're there for that, but I know that my wife wouldn't be happy if I was to say I was going to draw from reserves. I think that sometimes tough decisions have to be made. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. I'm willing to make some of those tough decisions, and sometimes they're not popular, but I'm going to do my best to try to communicate those things to people as to why we're having to potentially cut. I'm not saying that that's what I would do, but I definitely, as I say, I'm not a fan of dipping into reserves, and I don't think it's a good budget move. If we have the money set aside to do so, then I think the flexibility's there. As a candidate, there's only so much. I've given a lot of thought, obviously, but there's only so much that I've looked at the budget per se and would be able to answer that specifically. A lot of it would be handled differently once I'm in the position. And given the previous questions, I'd say that for myself, I've had no problems in the past stepping up to whatever I needed to do to learn and to be prepared to do the job needed. Many times I've had to take extra after the fact learning to understand the budgets I dealt with, I managed the ice company before I left Canon City years ago, and so I have handled millions of dollar budgets and stuff before. But as I said, sometimes tough decisions have to be made, and I think that's the real reason why I'm here, is because I'm willing to make some of those tough decisions. But it's not my first go-to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now again, we're going to go to our mayoral candidate, Phil. You have a voice in this decision process and the financial process, but you don't have a say in it, if you get what I mean. But one of your most important roles is, again, to be the face, the voice, the liaison between council and city manager, for one thing. And will you support the city manager if he must make tough decisions that might even include layoffs if financial conditions require it? And will you give him guidance as he is in the process, how will you give him guidance as he's in the process of making those decisions?
So the first question that you had, the answer is yes. I think we're going to have to probably deal some tough decisions. We're part of a larger structure, which is the American economy, and we'd like to be isolated and all by ourselves, but we're not. And we're also part of the Colorado economy, and so all those things hit there. And so I'm expecting, quite frankly, that we're going to have some significant challenges that are hitting us in the next couple years, including things like AI coming in and really disrupting our economy. There was just recently another company that I think it was Salesforce laid off 1,500 people today because of AI, and we're not going to escape that. So undoubtedly, that's going to affect things like sales tax and people moving in, et cetera, and we're going to have to deal with that. And so it does fall on the administrator to, in fact, make those decisions. And so the answer is yes. I am committed, though, to being the voice of the people. I'm not, there's two things you can do. One is you can represent the government back to the people, or you can represent the people back to the government. And I am 100% focused on, with a lot of thought, that I'm going to be the voice of the people back to the government. And so it's not going to be just us as a council, it's going to be citizens themselves. And I think I've proven that by having these meetings, which they weren't for running for mayor, they were because there was real issues that were out there. And I'm going to continue with that we're going to have voices of the citizens. And when it comes down to making budget decisions, et cetera, citizens need to be involved with that. Obviously, we've got an issue that's out there right now that people are concerned about, and that's the excise tax and how we're going to land on that. And it's really reading the posts and talking to a lot of people. People are passionate about it on both sides. And as Canon City, as the mayor, you've got to make sure you're able to bring people together after that. And so with this election coming up, for instance, on an example of this, I'm basically staying out of this very contentious race, dealing with that, because it's going to fall on us, and specifically probably the mayor more than anybody else, of when it goes, it passes or it doesn't pass. Somebody's got to figure it out on how to bring people back together and move this community forward, and figure out how to deal with the pool if it passes or not passes. So all of that is to say, I do think, Bob, that the mayor has a unique role, different than the council members, and that includes leadership and being a voice. And I'm planning on stepping up to that and absolutely making a difference with bringing people together best I can.
Thank you. We're going to shift gears now and go into the public safety area that's been brought up a little bit. Now, just a little background. Some people might not be aware of all of the things the Canon City Police Department has done. They've taken several proactive steps to better deal with, and I'm going to call it illegal activity, not just crime. They've set up several neighborhood watch units, a critical element in helping to manage and identify criminal activity. They've recently hired and trained new officers, bringing the department to nearly full strength for the first time in several years. They have also created a new unit identified as DICE, Directed Investigations and Community Engagement, and a bicycle patrol team to focus on quality of life issues and crimes within the business district. The new team will enhance relationships with businesses being based in an office at the Royal Gorge Chamber Alliance building. In addition, CCPD has hired an additional park police officer to enhance patrol coverage in the parks and Riverwalk to a 7-day coverage. These expansions do, by the way, come to the city by way of federal grant funding. And I'd like to point out we have a couple of DICE officers in the back of the room. They are manning from that new station. So they've already been out. I think they've been riding their bikes around. You can give them a bigger round of applause than that. So I'm just going to tell you, this is not part of your campaign. This is just me telling you their job is to get downtown and get around and to meet you and shake hands with all of you so that you know who they are, and when you need to get a hold of them, they can tell you how to do it. Now, one of the things, of course, is homelessness is a big issue. And I'm going to go to Pam with this question, because you probably see the ramifications of it as much as anybody. You know, the Homeless Coalition, Loaves and Fishes, and other support entities know who is homeless in our community. And for the for the most part, they know where they stay. What can City Council do to support the efforts of these groups as well as the PD that are trying to help those that do not have more permanent shelter and keep them from being a burden on our city businesses and residences?
First of all, I want to thank the DICE officers. They have been downtown and to my store specifically several times. And we've noticed that since they are around, we are seeing fewer issues with the homelessness, at least in the downtown area. So I greatly appreciate that, as I think probably most citizens that visit the downtown area do as well. I've worked before, I've volunteered with a couple of different food banks and have worked with some people that were maybe not homeless, but borderline homeless or definitely insecure in food and housing. I think one of the main things, if we can help these people that are on the edge stay in their housing and stay in their get them the resources they need, either for jobs or for whatever it is, before they become homeless, that would be my first and foremost priority. An ounce of prevention equals, a pound of cure. I am actually joining the Homeless Coalition that is headed by Loaves and Fishes this month, so that I can learn a little bit more from their perspective what is needed out there. I can tell you the problems I currently have with, or have had with the homeless population. I know there's several different aspects of that as well. There's the people who are trying but failing, either through being underemployed or unemployed, or they just had some sort of financial hardship hit them and they were unable to recover. And then we have the more, actively homeless who are out there because they pretty much want to be. They're possibly more the criminal element. They're on the drug side. They don't like the structure of some of places like Loaves and Fishes. I don't have the answers for how to deal with it, but I'm hoping that by going to the Homeless Coalition, by working with Loaves and Fishes and some of the other entities around, I can learn more so that I can gain a better understanding of how to address that problem. I think solutions are out there, and just by bringing a new perspective might help.
Thank you. Chantel, I don't know if you're aware or not, but CCPD and their co-response unit routinely investigate in tandem cases involving people experiencing mental health related problems. Would you continue to support this program, and what, if anything, do you think council could do to help improve it? And that may be a tough one. I understand, I'm coming at you from all sorts of places, but.
I would continue to support in any way possible. I would actually, in fact, like to ask the question, what do they need from council? We're not out there doing that, so I think it would be important to hear from them what they need council to do or how we can specifically help them. So if elected, I would definitely continue that support. Mental health, personally, is a huge, it's a big topic, very important to me, and I think we need more help for people that are struggling with mental health. I don't think the resources are there, or maybe they're just not well known about for people. So I do appreciate that extra effort being put in to that aspect. I do believe homelessness, a lot of times it does stem down to mental health issues, and without support there's just no way for those people to get out of it. So I would do anything and everything possible to support that effort. And again, I would like to hear from them. What do they want council to do? What would they like to see from council? Whether I'm elected or not, that I feel like that would be an important information to whoever is elected, to hear directly from the source what they need. Supporting them, though, absolutely, I would give full support as much as possibly can.
Thank you. Jeremy, do you have any specific concerns with illegal activity, and do you know of any steps that the council can take to either support the police department that addresses those concerns, or other steps that it can take to help reduce illegal activity in the city?
Thank you for the question. This is one of those topics that I think I mentioned before, is that I don't really have any specific new ideas. I'm not someone to come in and tell police what to do, or people that are making headway what to do. This is one of those areas of assessment and saying what's working and what's not working. Do more of what's working and less of what's not working. Sometimes there's bureaucracy involved, and cutting through that noise to find where are there vested interests involved in trying to keep programs in place that aren't necessarily making headway or creating the results that we want. So as I had said before, I'd ask the question, what's working? Analyze the situation and say what's working, and be unbiased to it, and be willing to make tough decisions to potentially cut things that are unneeded, to put those resources into areas that are actually working. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Freddie, your place of business is outside the city but owned by the city, so you have a special relationship with the police department. But also, with the very irregular city limits we have, it is sometimes difficult to identify whether a call for service is in the city or in the county. Now, CCPD has an agreement with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office to allow officers to respond to calls within a quarter mile beyond city limits to remove any jurisdictional ambiguity and better serve the city. Are there other steps you think council can take to support the police department and enhance joint efforts between the police department and the sheriff's office?
Yes, there are. I think, first of all, let me get this right up front. I think we're lucky to have our police department that we have. Chief Schick has some great initiatives coming up. You'll be encountering those. You'll be seeing those. The DICE unit is going to be a great success. As he's not finished yet, he's got more initiatives on that as well. The community officer with the neighborhood watch, our neighborhoods join that November 6th. It's a great opportunity for all the neighborhoods to join that. So Kathy Heron and the drug dog, yeah. It's
Joey, you're talking about.
It's a poodle, by the way, but but very popular. But I think anything we can do to help support our officers there, including maybe we need another resource officer for the schools. I'd like to add that in there. And to me, it's maybe too simple. You get the bad guys and help the good guys. I think you have the homeless that my heart goes out to them for some reason or another. They're down in their luck. They want to get better. They want jobs. But then you have the other piece of the puzzle there that they love to live like that. And it comes down to illicit drugs. We need some covert officers in the force to prevent those illicit drugs into our neighborhoods and into our community. So I'll fully support the Canon City Police, Chief Schick, and all those efforts. I know they're all on the same radios. They respond when they need to each other. Chief Schick meets with all the police departments and sheriff's department around, so they share a lot of information. I just say continue supporting our local police.
Thank you. Phil, different approach for you because you've been holding all these meetings around, and a big focus of a lot of them is crime. And I'm not sure how you've been defining crime in your meetings, but give us your perspective on controlling illegal activity and making life a little safer and better here.
So I have had a bunch of meetings, and it's not about me, it's about the citizens coming. And so we've had focus with the police chief and the sheriff. We had one specifically with that. We also had one with the judges. We had one with the DA. And what I think the council needs to do is step out of the city silo that we often put ourselves in. And so it's more than just allocating a budget to the police chief and putting everything on the department. We've got to get in, and basically I've been holding this sign up at often the meetings that says "not here." And not here means that we're not going to become like other places that you could name and tolerate the challenges with both homelessness as well as the crimes, and certainly the ones that are affecting people's household, where people are walking by their streets, they go in their garage, they make people feel uncomfortable on the trails, etc. And so not only do we need the police department doing its thing, but they need the political support of a community and its culture saying, Canyon City is not going to be that. We're not going to tolerate this much longer, if at all. And I think that message, when you say this is not where we're going to be, because we can normalize things, we can make things normal. So one of the challenges, I think, with the police chief, I'll just say this out in the open, is we're comparing often quarter to quarter to quarter. And I think the better solution is not to normalize it, but to say we are going to reduce crime in Canyon City by 25%. That is the first goal. And that goal is going to take a lot more than just the city council. It's going to take Loaves and Fishes. It's going to take multiple efforts, including the school systems, et cetera. But we all need to be working together as a community. And I think the mayor does have a different role than what the city council does, that you're basically the mayor of the city and you get a chance to bring people together from different silos, different domains, get rid of the silos, and we all work together to solve those challenges. So I've appreciated those meetings. Citizens have come out and talked about the challenge of this. The thing that also needs to be said is this is really impacting people's lives. There are people who are hurting because of the crime issue. This is not something that is just out there in a neutral situation where it doesn't impact people. No, there are people that are definitely impacting. The last thing I'll say on this is I have made a voice, and I want to have a council voice that says we have got to change what is happening with the courts and the PR bond. The PR bond, they're letting people out who get arrested for fentanyl, and they put them back on the street in 24 hours. They're letting people out who have solicited sex from minors, and they put them back out on the street in 24 hours. They're letting people out who did not come to court because they violated a PR bond, and they give them another PR bond. And somehow we've got to address that in this community, and the city council and the mayor need to be a voice to protect the people, to say we're not going to put up with this any longer.
I'm going to add thank you, Phil, and I know you know this, but I want to add a commentator's comment to understand that some of these issues he's talking about are beyond city council level. They do require state legislative action because that whole issue of bonding is driven by the state legislature, not by city council.
And since you said that, I want to say that, just react to that, which is the city council, though, does need a voice to say, in Canyon City, we're not putting up with this, and we go to our state senator, we go to our state rep, we go to the governor, and I realize that it comes out of the legislature, but we need to be active with our voice to say, this is affecting our community, and we've got to stop it. So,
thank you, Phil, and that will lead me to another set of questions in a minute regarding that activity. But right now, I want to go to economic development. And I think I'm going to ask everybody this question. Amy, we'll make it a 2-minute question. Do you think it is important for Canyon City region to grow its business economic base to provide jobs and opportunity for people that live in the greater Canyon City metroplex? Now I'll start with Freddie. Do you want to start with that one?
Sure. The greater Canyon City metroplex.
I made that up.
Okay, yes, I believe in economic development, As I said, we have the resources here. We have some great initiatives moving in. We have a 20-year plan, a 5-year plan. That should be reviewed. It looks like a good plan to me, but I haven't got all the details yet. But that has to be reviewed. We need to look at the different types of economic that will be successful here. You got to start with the foundation. You got to start with housing. You know, if you have a company that does AI move here, you're going to have young professionals, engineers, computer science. You know, they need somewhere to live. We got to provide the ability for our developers to create those resources and that housing to do that. So you start from that. The infrastructure in different areas, the Metroplex, whether it be 4 Mile or another addition somewhere else. There's Canon City has lots of water rights. They have lots of land rights. I think that we can improve on that and help with economic development through our city personnel, our city staff.
Thank you. Let's go next to Jeremy. Again, the same question. Do you think it's important to grow the business economic base to provide jobs and opportunities?
I think it's important for the city to help facilitate business and definitely not get in the way. I think sometimes cities can get in the way. That's a big question that I have doing this is, do we have issues of potentially the city getting in the way of growth? I know there's a lot of rumors behind that. You know, rumors come from everywhere, but what's true, you know, will be discovered. But that's, I do think that the city should help facilitate and help take down roadblocks that they can help with. I know there's a specific project, you know, heading towards 4 Mile, and I think that the city could help with that to help boost that business. I think the city's has a responsibility to help grow business. I do think that, and not just sit on its hands and expect business to grow on its own.
Thank you. Chantel, I'll go to you next.
I do think it's important, responsible growth, well thought out growth, and very supportive growth. As Jeremy mentioned, rumors come from everywhere, and it has been said, which makes people not want to come here and start businesses. But again, like Freddie said, the housing is an issue. If you're bringing jobs here, but nobody has anywhere to live, are they going to travel here for work? Again, it would depend on the pay of the job. So it's kind of, there's a lot of different aspects to that. I do think it's important to grow. We can't just stay the same, given that we have grown in people and population. But I think responsible growth and supportive, I think the city needs to push and support and like Jeremy said, help facilitate and bring those businesses in. They're not just going to come on their own. We do have to find a way to attract them here. And that's going to come from multiple aspects, not just city council, not just housing, but everybody working together to do that in a responsible way. I definitely think is important. I think we do need to grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I get everybody? Did I get you, Pam? Okay.
I don't think it's important for economic growth. I think it's imperative. I think it has to be a focus. And growth can look like many different things. I know I was in the building industry 20 years ago in Pueblo, and at that time, builders from Canon City were telling me that it would cost them 10 to 15% more to build here than it did in Pueblo for the exact same house. And that doesn't seem to have changed. So we need to look at cost of housing, cost of building, and what we're doing as a city to put up those roadblocks, like Jeremy said. We also need to look at diversity in our economic growth. Small businesses are the backbone of our nation, but we also need mid-sized and larger corporations as well. You know, if a large corporation comes in due to tax breaks, stays for, 10 years employing 300 people, that's great. But then if they pull out, that also leaves those 300 vacancies. So smart growth and a balance of all types of business is imperative. We can look to what Emergent Campus is doing over in Florence to bring more tech-savvy businesses in and encourage our youth to go into those fields and maybe intern at those companies and actually stay here, bringing higher paying jobs that aren't truly impacting necessarily big buildings and big industry. But that balance is necessary.
Okay, thank you. Phil, I've got a slightly different question for you. If you are talking to a potential business or investor considering Canyon City, what will you tell them to persuade them to commit to the city? And I know
Well-
you know something about this one.
A little bit, yes, I do. So there's a hard reality that we need to face, and doing business in Canyon City is a tough deal. It just is. And getting capital into Canyon City is a tough deal. And part of that is our reputation. And again, I'm always going to speak frankly. We've earned it. We've earned the negative reputation that people have out there. And so, again, I know that's a hard pill for us to swallow, but we don't have to stay this way. We can absolutely step up to the plate and find out what the challenges are. Part of it is I do believe we're overregulated. For a small town, we have people that should have a little easier involvement with the city than what they're having, whether it's their personal residence or their business. And we've scared away a lot of businesses, and quite frankly, I think we've scared away millions and millions of dollars that would be there. We have 15 vacancies on Main Street as far as the places. And we as citizens may not recognize that because you get used to your own nest. But when citizens or people come into Canyon City and they notice sign after sign, for rent, for sale on Main Street, that's a problem, and we got to figure out a way that we're going to deal with that. We have 9 spots on Royal Gorge Boulevard that are vacant, and that is a problem. And some of them are very large buildings. So the mayor has a absolute responsibility of being the voice for the city and encouraging people that we are going to make this a good place for you to call home with your business. And I see that light, so I want to hit one other point as opposed to what I've been talking about, which is entrepreneurship. We have to have homegrown. So I came from a town that had 2 entrepreneurs that created multi-million-dollar businesses, but also hundreds of jobs because of their ideas and to make something happen there. So entrepreneurship is a critical point of making things happen, and we can be a lot more friendly to get homegrown businesses and make that happen. I've got more to say, but I'll keep quiet.
Oh, go ahead, Phil. I think this is an important topic. Give you a little bit more time.
Yeah, thank you. So there's so many things. How do we make capital work in Canyon City? That's an important thing. How do we minimize the regulations? How do we have a voice that is going to be reaching out to people and against our reputation that is there? And that's going to take all of us to do that. So I'm going to hold there, Bob, but if you're going to ask me another question, I do have another thing I want to get in there, so I'm going to hold.
You will get another opportunity.
Thank you.
You bet. This is an important topic, and I appreciate your input. And
It's very important, and I'm very passionate about it. So
what I appreciate is all of you seem to have different expertise, which you can bring together. Freddie, I'm going to go to you with this one. Local governments often provide various forms of support, such as tax breaks, tax increment financing, favorable water rates, planning or zoning modifications, and various other forms of assistance to help incentivize and make large-scale projects feasible. Do you think that that is wasting taxpayer money and giving it away, or is it a form of investment in the community that can produce long-term benefit?
It's the latter. It's a form of investment in the community, but you have to be careful because you can build a highway or a road to nowhere, infrastructure for nowhere, and somebody drops out and the citizens are on the hook. They've spent the tax money. So it has to be executed properly. There has to be strings attached to that. You got to have Plan if you got Plan A, you better have a backup Plan B. So I think that is a good investment in the community to help developers, infrastructure, but it has to be done wisely.
Okay, thank you. Chantel, 4 Mile Ranch has potential for new housing and a golf course. It offers many opportunities, an amenity plus the housing that was talked about. And we'll go with 3 on this one, Amy. But they will cost money to develop. They also have plans for commercial property, which raises both the property tax and the sales tax base. What role can the city play in supporting the development of 4 Mile?
You gave me a tough question there. There's a lot of regulations, as it's been mentioned, and I've heard it from many people, and they just feel like they hit wall after wall after wall with regulations. So I feel like taking a look at that would definitely help. It would make it a little easier for these businesses and developers to come in. And just listening to the people and working together as a council, working with, again, the budget. The budget always has to be looked at, working with city staff. I think just coming together as a whole and everybody being on the same page and wanting that growth to happen, especially in that area where it is so available. I think that's extremely important. And again, I'm one person. I don't have the exact right answer, honestly. It would be working with everybody as a whole, because that's a huge project, huge financial aspect to it that would have to be looked at. And I know, people don't want their taxes raised, so that's always going to come up. How are we going to do this without raising taxes on citizens? But then also, on the other hand, citizens want this growth as well. And we do need housing, we do need more businesses, so it would just be a matter of working together with every entity possible to come up with the best route forward to make that happen.
Okay,
and I'm not going to take the 3 minutes.
Jeremy, we're going to have the same question. Oh,
can I take a little bit of her time on that piece?
I'm going to give you some slack because I think we're here to educate as much as campaign, so
Right.
please.
Okay, thank you. I think one stumbling block on 4 Mile is water. You have the golf course that's, I'd say, been underpaying on the water, as well as the city. That's been addressed. There's been some, I call it scare tactics on water. Residents have received notes on the door, there's a 75% increase coming. Well, the proposed increase is from 2.17 to 2.33, I think, about a 7% increase. But, water's an issue, and I think there's other options for the water for 4 Mile, and I'm sure the current city council and others are looking at that for options. So that's the stumbling block we're in today on that, I believe.
Well, thank you. That's going to lead into the next block of questions. But first, I'm going to give Jeremy a quick one on another property that has a lot of potential. There's no greater burden than a great potential, The Abbey property has recently been purchased by a local businessman, and he has some pretty exciting ideas for developing the property, including modernizing the event center, providing more housing, and perhaps some other recreational activities. Jeremy, how do you think the city can support that project?
Thank you for the question. It's a lot of its attitude, and I think the attitude the city needs to have and the city council needs to have is how do we help you get things done instead of how do we prevent you from getting things done. I think that the rumor or the vibe for Canyon City is that the city isn't helpful in getting things done, but instead gives you a checklist of things as to why you can't get it done, as opposed to how can we help you get it done. I think it's a simple shift of attitude. There are people looking to be on the future council, including myself, that want to shift that attitude into how do we help you get it done as opposed to standing in the way. That's a lot of its attitude. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Pam, I've saved a special question for you. And the reason I have is because you are the person closest to the source of this question. You're a downtown business owner. What will you do as a city council member to help strengthen downtown, attract more businesses to the downtown area that will then hopefully attract more business traffic?
So I think one thing we have to look at, I hear a lot from other businesses that our locals don't shop downtown. That is not my experience. My experience is that I survive because of our local traffic. The tourism is a benefit to me as a local business owner, but I survive on my locals and their loyalty to me. So I would really like to see more events, more things like First Fridays, more community engagement into the downtown. I know we've worked on signage, the one now over Highway 50 at 6th Street, kind of guiding outsiders to the downtown business district, which has been helpful. I think we can do more to make that awareness happen. I have friends from out of town, out of state that, they drive through and they're like, really? There's a downtown? So we still need to grow that awareness of the downtown district. I think we have talked a little bit about an entertainment district, about various things. I really think we need to make the downtown a celebrated area where people want to come. They're excited about it. There's events, there's activity, there's that community. When people are out and about, it feels alive. And I think by doing that, we'll help draw more businesses to the downtown area. The more businesses we have, the better the tax base becomes. All of it's hand in hand. But I think that really focusing on drawing people to come downtown, to celebrate our downtown. We have one of the, I think it is the longest historic district in Colorado, and we don't celebrate that enough. We need to really make that a focal point and bring people down, bring everybody together. I think the more we can do that, the more we can get our citizens excited about our businesses and about our community and about what a special place our downtown really is. We'll benefit from it.
I'm going to do a follow-up with you, Pam, because you are a downtown merchant, and hear the question about locals don't buy there. What do you think the city council can do to help attract the kinds of businesses that locals will want to shop at?
That's a great question. I've never really thought about it from a city council standpoint.
And that includes the economic development factor of the city,
right.
too.
Right, and going back to my past experience with the Small Business Development Center, I think one major thing that we have to consider as we're attracting businesses is to make sure that they're an actual viable business. We have a lot of people, I decided to open a business today, that don't really have the background or the knowledge. They come in, they're there for 3 months, realize they're in over their head, and it folds, which just kind of keeps that revolving door of businesses downtown, which gives us that bad reputation again. So I think offering some real resources to help businesses not only be attracted there, but thrive once they are there. Give them the tools they need to understand before they open their doors. Not that I want to put controls on them saying you can't open, but give them the tools to help them be successful when they do open. And then ask the citizens. I think what would, I know that my business is probably the most diverse business, definitely on Main Street. What do the citizens want? What would bring them downtown besides my business? There's plenty of places that are there. I think what's missing is fun things like candy stores, a chocolate shop, places where they feel special, something that's like, this is ours. This is a Canon City gem, and I want to bring my family and friends here when they visit the area. I think we need more of those kinds of places. What those kinds of places are, I'm a little at a loss to think of, but something like the chocolate factory or a fudge factory I think we used to have downtown would be helpful.
Okay, I'm going to do one more question in this area, then I'm going to move to one last major topic. And this is for Phil. In economic development language, a primary employer or primary industry is one that derives most of its revenue from outside its own location, thereby growing the economy in a town. How important do you think it is to attract primary industry, and what do you think can be done to attract more primary industries to the Canon City Metroplex, if you will?
Good question. So what I call that is base jobs. So the base job has a multiplier effect that he's talking about. So you get what base job, which is bringing in new money into the community. That multiplier is that people are going to deal with restaurants and insurance agents, and on it goes with that. If you don't do that, you're just circulating your own money around, and that does not grow an economy. So, Bob, you're right on track that we need to have those kind of jobs. Again, on my firm bias is that we home grow those, and it just means we home grow with people having businesses where they're having their products or their services outside of Canon City in Fremont County, and those new monies are coming in, and we're circulating that. I think we have to deal with taxes. So when we talk about growth, I'm aware of the debate here that none of us want to be Colorado Springs, none of us want to be Telluride, none of us want to be Aspen, but we do need to be a thriving Canon City. And I've, coming from my Michigan experience, the joke has been all too often there that the last one out, turn out your lights. And so I've experienced economies where it's spinning down. You don't want that. You're much better off with dealing with economies that are more challenging. You're dealing with the growth, and that's the kind of economy that we have to deal with. On the downtown area, we need businesses that are not only local, but we're also bringing in tourists because, again, tourist dollars are base jobs. They're causing new monies to come into Canon City and circulating around there. I want to deal with taxes because we often hear about that. In my tenure, I will be fighting against every time that there is any thought about a property tax increase or a sales tax increase. I'm against it, and we're paying enough taxes. If anything, we probably need to lower those. And so, again, that's my position because I think there's stress with businesses downtown. We've got a higher tax rate than what they do in Pueblo West and some of the other areas out there. And citizens, and especially if you're in Penrose, okay, I'm in Penrose, it's halfway to going to Pueblo, or I can go to Canon City. Pueblo has got a lower tax rate than we do, and so where are those people going to go? It's not just people within Canon City proper, it's people that could be coming to Canon City to spend their money, but they choose to go to Colorado Springs or Pueblo, and so we've got to deal with the tax issue as well. So I'm 100% for base jobs, as you're talking about. That's something that needs to be part of our strategy, and I'm pleased to see that other council members who are going to be on the council are here tonight. So I see Kathy Worthington, I see Amy Schmischer, I see Rick Harmon is here for economic development, and we all need to come together, both the ones that are coming on and the ones that have another 2 years at least before them, and we need to figure this out. This needs to be a high priority that we're dealing with. Again, we cannot be the place where the last one out turn out the lights, and with AI and everything else, we've got to watch out for that. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the final substantive area here. Talking about water, the city operates a water utility enterprise and a stormwater enterprise, both of which are funded not by taxes but by fees for service. Water enterprise delivers treated water through the city and to some meters outside city limits. Stormwater enterprise manages runoff from rain and other sources within city limits. And the enterprise budget, those combined budgets, is almost as big as the city general fund. So it's a big item. In addition, both water, clean water, and stormwater are governed by a lot of federal regulations. Now, Jeremy, I'm going to go to you first. The City Council sits as the governing body of the Water Department with the duty to approve budgets and set rates. They're not subject to review by any other regulatory agency. What will you look at to balance the financial needs of the utility against the financial burdens of the utility customers?
Thank you for the question. I think some things are already being addressed right now. Unfortunately, those are uncomfortable sometimes topics to have. 4 Mile, from what I understand, was brought in with kind of cut rates on water to bring them here, and now it's a potential of raising those rates, and people aren't so comfortable. This is the hard job of being council and not always being popular, is to, as I've said before, make tough decisions sometimes, and we have to live within budgets. If we can shift money from other areas, potentially, these are things that when you become a council member, they become more serious. As a candidate, I can only go so far as to what I would do until I really have my, hands on the job and can invest more time into it. There's only so much time invested as a candidate, and I think that's a huge topic that I would take extremely seriously if given the position. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just checking my... Okay, Chantel, this is for you. The utility uses a tiered rate structure in which the unit cost goes up as more water is used. Are you familiar enough with that rate structure to have an opinion as to whether it is appropriate for the utility needs and for its customers? And do you, if you know enough about it, do you think the tiers are set at an appropriate level?
I'm aware of the tiers. I do not know enough about it to have an honest opinion on it, whether it's needed or not. Again, like I'm with Jeremy, I'm just a regular person. Only so much time. You only know so much of the ins and outs of the budget and what's required until you actually get into the position. And I would definitely look at that and look closely. And I would be asking the questions to be sure it is needed. Is it necessary? Is it right? And so again, as just a candidate right now, I don't have enough time invested in the topic. I don't have enough knowledge of the budget and the ins and outs to really honestly speak as to whether that is appropriate to have or not.
Thank you. And Pam, I'm going to go to you with this one. Much of the city water infrastructure is aging, including still a lot of lead pipes still in the ground, aging water treatment plan. What guidance would you seek to make decisions about upgrading the system?
And I'm with Jeremy and Chantel as the water treatment and distribution. Sorry, I got a guy waving at me over there. So it is, the water and water treatment is the least of my knowledge base. However, I know it is much more expensive to fix it once it's broken than it is to be proactive and working towards fixing it as you're going. Whenever a city street is being repaved or reconfigured, I believe that is the time to go ahead and look at the structure of the distribution and water treatment, or stormwater access, and deal with it as all as one, rather than paving a street and then going back at a later time, pulling up the street and doing the water main because it broke, and then having to repave the street. So trying to be proactive and looking at where those priorities are, and trying to work with the street department and the water department. And again, I don't know much about this, so I'm just shooting off the cuff here, but that seems to make logical sense, is to be working with it all in conjunction with work already being done. If you already have the street tore up, let's make sure that water distribution system right there is at least upgraded as well. It will cost more right then, but less in the long run.
Okay, thank you. Freddie, I've saved this one specially for you since you brought up the subject. The ability to provide adequate and affordable water supplies is essential for economic development. Requires an adequate supply and a delivery system that can distribute the water where needed. The strategic plan includes options for increasing storage of water for future needs. Options that are being considered is a reservoir in John Griffin Park. Another option is utilizing DeWeese Reservoir for storage. What factors would you want to look at to determine which option is preferable?
So our water department got a grant, $1 million for a study, and now we have a 20-year plan. And in that plan, we have available water, not only for our water rights, but the growth. Any growth that we would have in Canon City, be it multiple units or the golf course, whatever that is, we have the available water rights. We have direct flow to those water rights. What we don't have is storage. So if something was to happen, the river got polluted, you know how many days that we would be able to go with our water? Remember, we could be moving 10 million gallons a day. Days, if not a couple of weeks. So we need that reserve water source. We need it bad. He's talking about the John Griffin study. We got a $500,000 grant to make that study now. We need that emergency reservoir. That's got to be one of our priorities. The water plant can handle that. They've done a great study. Travis leads the charge on that, on the water treatment. But we also have the distribution piece too. So we have $22 million in the budget for our water, both distribution and treatment. You know, we don't, our wastewater goes to Fremont County, right, to down the street there. So we have to worry about our enterprise and our water reservoirs and our emergency water, I think, here in the future.
Thank you. And Phil, I'm going to give you a last opportunity to do something different, not the water subject, unless you have anything in particular you wanted to add to what's been said.
I do have one thing.
Go ahead.
One is that just how city government works, and so all of us have various committees that we can serve on. Fred has already approached me. If he gets elected, he wants to be dealing with the water issue, and we all know why that is exactly the case. Others have approached me about serving on FEDC, the cemetery ones, the roads and streets, and so you develop some expertise as a result of serving into committees. And I see Rick Retzoloff out here, and Rick, you got a sign right up here, so I think you should come on up and join us. I just noticed you that you're in the audience, so. Okay.
I'm not going over all the questions with you again, Rick.
Yep. But the one thing is that we all have expertise that we can develop, so I'm not expecting that any particular council member other than Fred would develop that. He comes and talks to us about it, and we play that as far as what we got. There's another person that I won't mention, but wants to be on the FEDC, and I suspect that she's going to be on the FEDC. So those are the kind of things that I think when we're dealing with this, we spread out the workload among council members, and the mayor specifically, with the limited powers that a mayor has, he does get to appoint council members to the various committees, and I've already met with the administrator to talk through that. So,
All right, thank you. And that leads me into, Rick, what I'll do, I want to give you a few minutes at the end to kind of cover a couple of things since you didn't get to go through the questions. But I do want to, you've touched on one thing having to do with the commitment to be on council. It's not meeting for a couple hours every 2 weeks. It's meeting multiple times a week often on the various committees. And I'm just going to go around, I just don't want you to take a whole lot of time, but have you thought about the time commitment that is involved and your ability to meet that time commitment? And we'll just go from Chantel on around the circle.
I have thought about it. I did recently find out there are a lot more meetings than I was aware of. So, but I've thought of, because it takes research too, you know, when you get that packet before the meeting, I think it's your responsibility to thoroughly look at it and do any research you need prior to the meeting. So I have thought about it, I am aware of it, and I am committed to putting in the time needed.
Thank you. Pam?
To be honest, that was one of the reasons I'm not on the ballot is, you know, it was brought to me and I really looked at the time commitment and was uncomfortable with doing that. Once it became noticed that there was nobody on the ballot and we needed somebody to run, I took a long, hard look at my desires for having a voice in the community, and I determined that I have no right to complain about what is happening in our city government unless I'm willing to step up and be a part of the solution. So I made the hard choice to decide that I will make that commitment, and the time is going to, you know, I will make the time for the necessary things that have to be done.
Just keep going, Phil.
Yeah,
I think you planned on it, I bet.
I did. You said you were going around, so I'm figure that one out at least.
Yeah.
So in the audience also is Preston Troutman, who is the mayor, and John Hamrick, who is the mayor pro tem, and these gentlemen have put in oodles amount of time for our city, and I appreciate very much what they've done. The mayor has chosen not to run again. He could, and chosen not to, and John Hamrick has been termed out, and we owe them a debt of gratitude for what they've done and all the time that they put into this city. And the mayor specifically has met with me for numerous times for coffee, which I appreciate, and him sharing his long history with this city and what he's talking about. The answer is yes, I'm willing to put it in. I'm already putting in quite a lot because running unopposed, people are thinking I actually might squeak by. I got a slight chance of doing that, and so I'm wanting to meet with people for coffee and everything else right now to get ready for it, but I'm committed to this job, and let's see what we can do in 2 years. I think we can accomplish a lot.
Fred, I'm going to ask you another question in addition to that one. You are currently manager of the Royal Gorge Bridge. The bridge management contract is up for review. That decision should be made before you go on council, if I understand correctly. If your company is chosen to run the bridge for the next contract period, how will you handle any potential conflict between your role as bridge manager and being on city council? And then talk about the time.
Yeah, as you're aware, most people are aware, the city owns the bridge from 1906. They hire companies to manage that. It's private companies. I'm working for one of those companies. When it comes up to a decision, I will not compromise the integrity of the council. I'll step aside. I'll give all the information I can, all the data I can in supporting the city, but I'll step aside when it comes to any decisions or information that conflicts of interest in there.
Okay, and as far as committing the time, assuming you're still managing the bridge, If you're not, it may be a different story, but
Right. Right. We got some great people. We got a succession plan up there. I don't plan on being there forever, but I will support the bridge and the city for as long as I can. My main issue is with the family that I do have the support from my wife to commit the time in here, so I will. And she won't let me forget it, believe me.
Rick, your first official question. I will give you more time for closing comment, but go ahead and answer that one. Oh, push your button, sorry.
Okay. I've attended many city meetings. I just happened to get off late today, so that was one time that usually doesn't happen. You know, I don't have a problem dedicating time talking to citizens or meeting with citizens with issues or problems. I look forward to that. Working on anything that is a problem, I'd like to be there for the people. One main important, that's really important to me, the main thing. And devoting time, I don't have problems showing up and being at meetings or anything to do with the city. Our city has a lot of room for growth and change, and you know, that's always a good, well, it can't always be a good thing, but mostly it's a good thing. So yeah, I don't have a problem dedicating time. I look forward to it. My kids are growing out of the house. I'm single, so I have a lot of free time right now, and I can dedicate that to the city.
Jeremy?
I'm well prepared for this. I didn't step into this blindly at all. I have the full backing of my wife and my son, who's a teenager. They both know exactly what this commitment's about, and I've been preparing for this for many years. People who know me close know that I've been talking about this for years. It's just been a matter of which year I was going to run. The commitment, the time commitment, I'm well prepared for. I didn't pursue promotions at my job so that I could pursue this and have the time for this. I could have pursued a lot more income instead of this. So I've chosen the city of Canon City and to represent the city of Canon City over my own personal career, and that's how committed I am to this. The time, I'm well ready for it. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to ask one last question following. This is almost more by way of information. There are several organizations, and I think Phil brought this up, one aspect of it with the, let's watch the state legislature, because that's where a lot of things have to be done in order for you to do what you want to do. There's an organization called the Colorado Municipal League. Some of you may know of it, some of you may not. It's been around for a very long time, and I would say that substantially all of the cities of any size belong to CML. In fact, that's how I first met previous city managers and city clerks from Canon City, was when I was involved with that when I worked for the city of Colorado Springs. They have lots of training opportunities. They plan trainings for new council members, new mayors. They have lots of organization, but one of the things they also do is actively lobby the legislature with respect to these issues. We are not big enough, I can guarantee you, to hire a lobbyist. We aren't even big enough to hire somebody to go up and monitor the legislature. But I would encourage you very much to become part of that. Another organization around here is Action 22, or Action Colorado it's now called, which Canon City's been a part of for a long time. I don't know if they still are. These are how you're going to get to the state. Now, particularly with respect, there's just a yes or no question from each of you, and I'll start with Phil. Do you think the city could continue membership in Colorado Municipal League and actively participate? And should the city be paying for council members and appropriate staff to attend meetings to get that outside input, outside training, and more important, the contacts to help do your job?
You're going to hold me to a yes or no on that one?
I am.
The answer is yes.
Let's go, Freddie.
Yes, I'd say yes.
Rick? You know as much as everybody else at this one.
Definitely, yes.
Jeremy?
I'm not a fan of yes or no's, but I guess it would be something we'd have to look at, but I guess yes. I mean,
Pam?
Yes.
Chantel?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm looking at the clock. We're a little ahead of time. I was planning on 2 hours, but we didn't have quite as many people. At this time, I'd like to offer Rick an opportunity to say why he wants to run for city council and what you'd like to accomplish. And I'm sorry I can't run you through all the subjects again, Rick.
I'd like to get on council to represent the people, be a voice for the people, and do more of what the people want in town instead of 8 people deciding what the people want without putting it out in the community. I don't think it's right. I think a majority would be the city people living here, and I'm used to a majority vote. I don't feel 8 people is a majority, and you kind of got to sometimes do what people in the city want. If it's the right thing, then that's great. If it's the wrong thing, I would have to disagree, which I don't have a problem with. I always speak my mind. I'm a very driven person, so I just want to be here, make a change for the better, and move Canyon further into the future where it needs to be.
Well, thank you. And again, I'm sorry we didn't get you in here earlier. This has been broadcast on the Royal Gorge Chamber Alliance page, and hopefully you should be able to go back and look at that if you want to see anything. You can't change your answers there, but particularly Rick, if you want to go back and see what was discussed, that will help you kind of catch up. I want to thank the Daily Record. That's our hometown newspaper, and we got to continue to support them. And particularly want to thank the Royal Gorge Association of Realtors for, we couldn't do this without cookies, But they're also a great organization, a great resource, and I'm sure you will hear from them on more than one occasion. So I think at this point we can do I'm going to say one editorial comment. I knew coming in that some of you were going to get hit with questions that you hadn't had the time to review and think about and go through. You're going to be drinking from a fire hose for the next few months. And I commend each of you for the manner in which you've handled yourselves. I don't normally comment on a panel, but I think you've all distinguished yourselves well, and I intentionally didn't hold any punches when I asked some of the questions, because hopefully it'll say, oh, I don't know anything about that, I'll go learn. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. Let's give them a big round of applause, more than a single clap, shall we? And I will point out that on the District 3 side, the 3 candidates' names are on the name tag up there. If you intend to vote for any one of those 3, make sure you write their name down so that you know how to spell it when you fill out your ballot. You have to write their name in and spell it properly. So are your names on that tag correctly as you have registered for the ballot? Okay. And I think the rest of you are nominated candidates, right? Okay, thank you all for being here, and ballots are in the mail.
We thank you for coming as well, citizens. Thank you.